Good morning. My name is Tamara, and I'll be doing the orientation on your brand new Jayco Eagle. At the front here, we have a powered tongue jack, is powered by your battery. At the front, there is an on-off switch just for a little light for docking, and your power jack, which brings it up and down. This does have an inline fuse, so if you're having problems with it operating, do check the red cord right to your battery box, and there will be a fuse in there that you will have to replace. We also have dual 30-pound tanks here. You would want to run one at a time versus having them both on. You could be in the middle of dinner and all of a sudden you run out of propane. The on and off valves are right on the top. You would just simply rotate them when one is empty and then fill the other one up. Right in the back corner over here is your battery. It is a single 12-volt battery. It is a wet cell battery, so you will want to take the cover off and top it up with distilled water. Do that every couple months, especially when it's in storage. You want to disconnect that battery so there's no leads and drawing off of any 12 volt in there if you've left a light on or anything like that. Coming around the corner here, there is a few light switches in here. These are for your cap lights. We have LED lights and then we have a strip light on the front there as well. So these are nice for docking lights and they're also nice for your camping spot. You could say, yep, that's my Jayco Eagle. Not every light or trailer out there is going to have these lights on there. So it's just nice to spot your trailer in a camping site. Off to the side is your wet bay. So wet bay with all of your water valves, hookups, and everything that's in there. Right at the very top is a quick connect for your portable solar panels. This is directly hooked up to your batteries, only for portable solar. We have on-off light switch here. This is your quick connect for your outside shower. So it's a blue coily hose, not a great shower end on it. You might want to get one from Home Depot or anywhere that's got better sprayers on there. You are going to bring all your hoses, cords, and cables up through the bottom, right up through this little hatch so you can keep your main door closed. When that's done, you're going to be hooking up into these here. So this one here is for your water connection. With that being said, you're going to bring this hose up and hard 90 into that. You will want to add a brass 90 or a brass 45 on there so your hose is not getting kinked. And on this one here is for your sanded or for your black tank flush. If you take a look at the valves here, we have a blue valve and a green valve, and they correlate in this little diagram. So when you're going to be hooked up to city water, if that means if you're at a campsite, you're going to be turning both your valves in this direction. If you're going to be heading out dry camping into the backwoods with no hookups at all, you're going to need to fill your tank first. How you'll do that is you'll turn the valves this way, keep that one in that direction. Or sorry, backwards, this way here. What that does now is that diverts the water and allows it to or fill into your fresh tank. Once that's done, you're going to have to turn your valves back to this direction. Reason being is that if you left it in the fill position, there's a hole there, so the pump will never stop. The pump will continue to run and you'll have problems. Once you turn it to your dry camp position, it actually closes that valve off and allows the pump to build pressure for you, so you won't be having any issues. We have a winterize mode here and a sanitize mode. Those should be done by your local dealership, especially the first time if you're not familiar. Maybe get familiar with it and then you can continue to do it onwards. Afterwards, there's also information that's in your owner's manuals. I'm going to push these valves in. So we have your black and gray flushes here. What that means is black is for your toilet water, gray is for your sink water and shower water. We always go through a lot more gray water than we will black water. That's because we're running our sinks, running our showers. So you can leave your grays open when you're at a site, but you definitely want to keep your black closed. Before you dump your blacks, do close your grays back up. Let them build up some pressure so when you come time to dump your tanks, there'll be enough to rinse everything through. So first thing you do is you're going to open up your black. That will obviously get rid of all the yucky stuff. And when you open up your gray, that will rinse all the black out of that hose. Close them back up and we'll talk about chemicals inside. We have a number of satellite and cable inputs here. When you're at a site, you're going to hook up just a cable. That's going to run cables through the entire unit, unless you're wanting to just individually store certain rooms. And up here is the water pressure, or for your water heater, I should say. That would be in correlation with the winterize mode. So these two would be used together. But again, take it to your local dealership and have them sort of walk you through these explanations first before you decide to do it on your own. This little guy here is just a little light, just to make sure that we know what's going on in here. Just for, actually it might even be for your water pump, to be honest, because we do have this light up here. Think everything's Done in there. Right below here is a low point drain. This low point drain below is blue with a little white spigot on it. That is to drain your freshwater tank. So when your trip is done, if you're out dry camping, you're going to need to drain that tank because it's a lot of weight to haul with you. You're just going to open that up and let it drain while traveling. It's only freshwater draining. So if you have people driving by you saying, hey, you're leaking something, you know it's only freshwater. And then right beside it is another gray valve. Heading over to the side here, I do like to suggest to people to take pictures and file away to an email file anywhere there's a decal. What that does is if you ever call in for help, any dealership, the first question we're going to ask, make your model serial number. You can bring this information up in an email anywhere you are, and that would correlate to anything, any appliance. Do take pictures and file them away. Large storage unit here. And your hookup. So 30 amp cable. It is on a 90. It is threaded on there, so you will have to thread that off, but it does store away. It's a detachable power cord. Right beside it is your furnace exhaust, so that will get very hot. Just be careful when you are hooking it up that this is nowhere near this area because it could possibly melt. Right in here is your water heater, the rear of your water heater. There's really not too much to be going in here, why you would want to go in here. Everything in here is meant to be wet. So if you see water, don't panic. It's just doing its job. Right at the very top is the water relief valve. Our water tanks at home have these. What happens is our tank builds pressure, needs to release the pressure. Periodically, it will open itself here and then it will close itself. So no need to panic if you see water in there. If it's open position and it's just constantly leaking water, then there's a problem. You're just going to open it and close it again and it should be fine. Information for this water heater is on the side. Again, another area to take a picture of and file away to your email file. At the bottom is a anode rod. So that's basically your plug for this unit. It also is a hard water deposit eater. So at the back of that plug is a long rod. It's a magnesium rod and it will get eaten away and it will look really crazy. It's just doing its job. It's not until it gets down to the center core that you're going to want to replace that. But again, your local dealership will explain to you at what point in time you're going to want to replace that. Another low point drain below this. Just going to take a look. Oh, they're way up there. Okay, so they're way up in the back there. I do believe those low point drains are going to be for winterizing. So that's your hot and cold winterizing lines. You're going to have 3 spots to drain. One is your low point drain that's for your freshwater tank that we just talked about. These low point drains, which is for your hot and cold lines for winterizing. And the third spot would be your hot water heater. Those are really the only 3 spots that you need to drain for winterizing. Your termination valve is located right here. So that's going to be where your grain valves are pulled. Everything will come out this spot. So you need to hook your sewer hose up into the ground. If you're at a campsite where it is a full hookup, you're going to connect your sewer hose as part of your setup procedure. Lock it into the ground. Most sites will not let you dump these tanks if you don't have the 90 locked into the ground. The volume of water that comes out of this valve, when you pull that valve, is so great that it will possibly kick it out of the ground and make a big mess. So make sure you do have the locking 90 for the ground. The back of this here is just the rear of your fridge. So we at the very top is just ventilation for this guy. At the bottom here is kind of the brains of the beast. So really important to not have water in these areas. If you have little people, your kids, neighbors' kids, grandkids here helping you, make sure you take over this area because if water got into this area, it could possibly damage it. This is a 2-way fridge, which means it runs off propane and it runs off of electricity. So there is a 110 plug located in here, which is why it's so important to keep it dry. Also, it's on a plywood base, so it also gets really warm in here too. So every now and then take this lid off. There's nice vents in there, which allows spiders and wasps to make nests in there. So you're going to want to take it off and hand broom it out or vacuum it out. No compressed air in there because it could get into ports that it's not meant to be. Other than that, just keep it tidy and keep it dry. Once you've finished replacing the lid back on, give it a tug because quite often these are littered all over the highways. Moving around to the back, Nice ladder. You will have to do seal checks on the roof. That's part of owning a trailer, is doing your own seal checks. That would be anything that's attached to it, lights, hatches, anything that's on there, especially on the roof. You're going to have big wide beads of seal. They will start to dry and crack. They're exposed to the elements. So really important to make sure that you're doing seal checks once or twice a year, and that will also follow in your owner's manuals. Right at the very back here is a quick connect. So it looks like they've given you a propane quick connect. That is for, sorry, just let this pass by. That is for hooking up a propane fire pit or a barbecue. Now, if you have an appliance at home that connects to its own fire pit or barbecue, more likely you can't use it on this unit. What that means is your appliance at home is regulated. This is also regulated, so you can't take a regulated appliance and hook it up to a regulated unit. It just wouldn't work. So you do have to get a special low pressure, non-regulated appliance to hook up to this. When this valve is away from the line, it is off. When the valve is in line, it is now on. So it's not like it's pouring propane out of there until this actually gets depressed, but that's just to know when it's going to be on and off for your own use. We do have a spare tire crank as well. That's going to be for one of the crank handles in the front, and we'll show you that in a little bit. Light switch for under your stairs. Of course, we won't see it today because it's so bright and sunny out. Now on this side here, they do offer a cable output. So we're drawing it in from the other side. On this side here is a 110 plug and a cable jack. So if you want, you can have a TV stand out here, watch football on a Sunday. It's great for anything like that. And then you have some nice outside speakers and a couple different crank handles. This crank handle is the one that's going to be lowering your spare tire crank that we just saw at the back of the unit. And this one here is called a T-slot crank handle. This one is for your stabilizers, your power stabilizer jacks. So on this side here is the motor for the cranks or for your stabilizer jacks, but opposite side is going to be where the manual override goes for this. Not often will they fail, but it might be in the condition where the batteries have died. You have no power to the unit and you need to manually get these up and down. So this is your crank handle for that. We do supply you the 20-foot sewer hose. This only connects to the unit, but you do need to get that elbow for the ground that I talked about. The 90-degree elbow will go on this side and lock you in. And we have an adapter for you. So the unit is on a 30 amp power source, but not all of us have 30 amp at home. What you can do is you can plug into 30 down to 15. That will get your things like your lights on, your fridge going, but won't be enough power to run your air conditioner or major appliances like that. But this will at least get you going for the night before you head out of town. Right on the sidewall here is a battery disconnect. Super important. So again, when I mentioned if you're going to be storing this, you would want to probably disconnect your batteries and take them home with you. Put them in your garage on something warm, on a trickle charge. If you want to leave it in your driveway, you just have a battery disconnect here, or just keep it plugged in. Entirely up to you. All right, so here we are inside the Jayco Eagle. We're going to start from the front and work our way around. At the front here is a bank of light switches. They're kind of placed throughout the unit. And then there's also a master light switch, which is on your main monitor panel, which we can get to after. Lovely couches. So these are kind of like a massage power couch. This will only work when you're plugged into 110 power. It won't work off of 12 volts. So as long as you have 110 power to this unit or even a 3500 watt generator, you'll be able to operate these anytime, anywhere. On the sides of the couches here is both USB and 110 plugs on these. So you're going to have power on either side. And in the couches is USB as well for plugging in your cell phones or laptops. If you do have guests spending the night, do make sure that they know how to operate the emergency windows. Emergency windows can be used just as airflow, or they can be used in an emergency, of course. So at the top here, really simple to use. Just because there's red and stickers feel free to use it. It's now an open window. You're getting airflow through here. If you do have people spending the night, make sure that they know they can hop out of here. It's a hinged window. It only hinges open and hinges closed. It will never fall out. Again, light switches kind of everywhere throughout this unit. And we have your entertainment center. So this is going to be sort of contingent on 110. The TV will work on 110, and your fireplace will work on 110, but your stereo is 12 volts, so that should work for you all the time, anywhere. All right, so we're actually able to get free TV right now being in our parking lot. We're not hooked up to cable anywhere, but there is an antenna button in here. So with the antenna button, what that does, it's kind of like back in the day when we had rabbit ears, we do a channel scan, and we'll pick up whatever free TV is available for you in the area. Our location here, we're able to get roughly about 10 channels, up to 20 channels. It really depends on the day and depends on the location, I guess, of the satellites. So we're able to get something out of here. Just going to take a quick look. The free TV button is usually located right behind the TV. So this comes out and pivots for anyone's viewing pleasure. And it is. So I'm just going to get Michelle to pop over here quickly. Right in the very back, there should be a cable jack with a green light. And right by that green light, see the green light there? There's a little button. What happens is when that button's on and the green light's on, that's how we're getting free TV. When the button is off, it kills the signal to the cable. There, it means no free TV. But if you are at a park and you're hooked up to cable, keep that button off. What will happen is it's actually going to interrupt your signal. So you won't get anything. So when you are in this position where you have power to the unit but no cable, you go into menu settings. You're going to head right over to channel. And you're going to go into channel search, auto channel search. It will just pick up whatever channels are available for you in that area. It knows we're on antenna right now, so we'll always choose antenna first. If we're on cable, you're going to make the choices that are appropriate to your situation. And let it do a channel scan. You're going to get anywhere from 0 channels to 20 channels. We never know where you're at. Right down here is your JBL interior, exterior speakers. So we have A, B, and C. These are speaker locations. So let's turn these all off. So right now it shows on here as nothing. We have 0 zones on. If we turn zone A on, that's our main living area. Zone B sounds like it's in the back of the trailer, possibly in the bedroom. And zone C will be outside. So that means at nighttime, if you're listening to tunes, make sure zone C is off because all your neighbors will hear your music. We're just going to turn this down. So our channels, found about 16 channels so far. So we'll come back to that after. All right, moving around, we have a lovely pantry. Oh, with light up lights. You cut that out. And another bank for our switches, our light switches in the unit. So obviously make sure your tanks are on, and then you're going to come in here, give these a little start it up. As long as the nice blue flame's coming from these, you know there's air that's pushed through the lines and now coming to your appliances. So we can turn these guys off. And then things like lighting your oven, getting your pilot going is going to be much easier for you, as well as lighting your stove or furnace or propane on appliance or on propane. Right over here is your lovely double fridge. Now at the top, it doesn't really tell us what it's doing. It just sort of says it's on. Like it's not really saying anything to us. So we go in here, we have our on off button, and then we have auto gas, and we have temperature set. So at the very top, I'm not sure if you can see this, there's a little tiny dot beside auto. That means your fridge is choosing the best source of power. Right now, the fridge knows we're plugged into power. It's always going to choose power first. If we wanted it to be just on gas, now the dot's moved over to LP, which is liquid propane, and now we're running just on propane. Ideally though, you're gonna wanna keep it on auto because the fridge knows to choose propane when you've lost power to your unit. So you would always wanna keep it on auto, except for travel because you do need to have your propane off for travel. Information for this fridge is located on the sidewall. Again, another area to take a picture of and keep into your files. Be really careful about the weight you're putting in the door. Each bin is quite costly, and if you do break the hinges on the door, they're probably going to want to replace the whole door and not just a simple hinge kit. On the ceiling, right in the middle of the kitchen here, that is your smoke detector, and that is a 9-volt battery, and there should be a carbon monoxide detector in the bedroom, which is also a 9-volt battery. And those will be up to you to check periodically. All right, we're heading down into the bathroom. Very nice, very large. Large bank of switches here. So these are really just all accent lighting switches here. We'll just turn them on from the beginning. So nice backlight to your mirror. And then ceiling lights, blue lights in the shower. That would be for nighttime showers, I guess. And then your fan. So with this type of fan on here, it's not something you really need to go up and open and close. It's kind of going to be always open and always working for you. With the toilet, chemicals are so important. So outside, we were talking about your black tank and your gray tanks. If you weren't using your toilet properly, meaning with proper chemicals and proper toilet paper, you're going to have nothing but issues. So what you want to do is you're going to do half a step on this bowl. Half a step is going to get the water valve going. And you're going to fill this toilet all the way up to the top with water. Once it's full of water is when you add your chemicals. If you were just to drop a chemical into the tank with nothing in it, it's not going to activate. So add water, add chemicals, step it down to your tank. Now it's going to start to activate for you and actually work properly. If you are a Charmin user, by all means, continue to use Charmin, just don't put it in your toilet. You really do have to use proper marine, septic, or RV toilet paper. It will help with the chemicals break down to a liquid waste and actually exit your unit properly. Not too much else in here. We do keep the sink plugs out. I've had accidents where tops have been left open, just this hair. I don't realize it. I'm outside doing my setup and I come in because my sink plug's in there. There's now a mess everywhere on the floor. So just for your own safety and purposes, if you can, leave your sink plugs out. Make sure your shower door is locked for travel. That's going to be locked on the inside position there, as well as any of your door vents or door locks. Moving along. All right, we do have another emergency window in here, as well as your TV. The second TV remote is the same as the first one, so if you want to keep one stashed and one operable, by all means, go ahead. Lots and lots of storage. These do have lights in these cabinets. So this is an area where you may forget that there's a 12-volt light on there, and that will add to your 12-volt draw on your battery if you have forgotten that you've left these lights on. So just be careful when you have stored your unit or you've done your trip that you're checking. Also, if you look at the clearance between the slide out and these door handles, not very much clearance. So do a double check on everything before you bring your slide outs in to make sure that there's no accidents that are going to happen with doors being ripped off. I've done it myself. We're going to take a look under the bed. Should be a lot of storage. There are your extra folding chairs, and these have a gas shock on them, so they actually lift this bed quite nicely and will hold the weight of anything on there. All right, moving down here, we have your converter panel. What the converter panel is where your breakers and all of your fuses live. So fuses are for the 12-volt portion of your unit, breakers are for the 110 portion of your unit. Everything is listed and located on this door as to what's what and where everything is running to. Right beside here is your carbon monoxide and propane detector. That is hardwired to your batteries. It's a safety feature. It will always run on your batteries. There's no on or off switch. If it starts to beep at you intermittently, say in a dry camping situation or if it's in your driveway, it's telling you that the batteries are dying and it can no longer protect you. So you have to get it plugged into power or even have solar. Solar is a sure way to always have power. It's solar is feeding to your batteries are feeding to your outlets and to your 12-volt portions, and that will really help you in the future to dry camp and just to have your batteries topped up all the time. So definitely something to look into. Okay, so in addition to your converter panel, that's where your breakers and fuses are, is this guy here. It's your Gfci resettable plug. We have them at home in our bathrooms. This is tied into every interior and exterior plug on your trailer. If your TV is not working, microwave, cell phone charger, whatever's plugged into the wall isn't working, check this first. More likely this is tripped. If it's not tripped, then you're going to check over where your converter panel is, where your breakers and fuses are. Welcome to your digital monitor panel. This is where the brains of the beast live. So you're going to read everything you need to know is going to be located on this panel. We're going to start from home. So I think we're already on home. What this is doing is telling us, okay, our lights are on. It will give us access to our slide outs, access to what our tanks are doing and what our batteries are doing. On the top here is a master on-off light switch. So if we hit off, it's going to pretty much kill every light that's in this unit, or we can just hit on and we can actually access individual panels as we've been going through the unit. We've been noticing those. We have our climate control on right now. It is on AC. We can control it just from here by turning our temperature up and down. And next we can go into our tanks. So tanks is what's telling us what we're full of. So right now we have fresh water, which is 2/3 full. That's the same number that we're going to want our grays and our blacks to get to. You really never want your grays or blacks to get beyond 2/3 full. It kind of gets to a point where they may start to overflow. So once your black and your grays get to 2/3 full, that's when you head outside. Open up black first, let it do its thing, open up grays, and gray will rinse all the black out, and then you can close them back up and check your panels. If there is ever an issue with the black panel reading that there's still something in there, what that means is that there's toilet paper or something stuck on your sensors. You're going to want to do a black tank flush, and do refer to your owner's manuals for that. Heading back into home, we're going to head into energy. So energy is telling us what our batteries are doing. So right now our battery is reading at 14.1. I do see that you have a solar panel on here as well. So those numbers are going to correlate. So into our energy, 14.1 for batteries and 14.3. The numbers will never always match, but as long as we're in that 14 range, it's when we get into the 12 range that there's something wrong, whether the batteries are not charging through the converter panel down there, as we were talking about earlier, where your breakers and fuses, that's also a charger. That's charging your unit when you're plugged into the wall, and it's charging your unit when you're plugged into your vehicle and driving. So these numbers should always be in the same range, but nothing too important. At the top here on the solar, it's reading that there's a sun. Sun means that it's getting full power right now and it's good to go. At nighttime, that will turn to a moon and you'll get a lot less draw into the unit. Propane is not added on here. Quite often they're never added on to trailers. That's really only for motorhomes. And we'll go into motors. So motors are for your slide outs and your awnings. You're able to operate everything from this panel right here and get everything open or closed. Back into temperature, so we can do mode for cool. We can go into fan or we can go into heat. It's really hot here today, but we're going to turn the furnace on anyhow because we want to make sure everything's working properly. Probably have to give it a kick up. Now, with trailers, AC and fan are always ducted through the ceiling, and furnace is always ducted through the floor. So if you take a look on the floor here, there is a floor register, and they will be placed throughout the unit, or there may be round ducts that are on the sides of cabinetry. On the ceiling, we have round ducts. This is where your AC and fan is coming out. Not very tall, but this can actually close and they can open back up and they can actually rotate so you decide where the air is going. If you want to close all these off in this room, have all the air coming in your bedroom, by all means do that. That's your trailer. It's up to you what you want to do with it. With your fan speed, so right now we have the furnace on, we have fan speed on low. We can change that as well when we go back into fan. We'll go back into here, into fan, and then change our fan speed to high or low. That really only works in fan because the furnace has its own internal fan. And I think that's about in this area. If you have any further questions in this area, do refer to the owner's manuals. There is a lot of reading material. Quite often people don't go through them enough. By all means, go through. If you have any questions, give myself, give service, or give your salesman a call. Any one of us will be able to help you with any questions that you have. And I hope you enjoy your Eagle. Thank you.